And all right, now we've talked about getting something published. We've talked about crowdfunding. We've talked about post-crowdfunding marketing. Now we're going to get a little more specific. I think this is still on the marketing side, but the role of digital media. And I think we're up to Wade on this one. Wait a minute. 2, 4, 6. No, we should be actually with Sean. No, I don't know. Who cares? We're going to start with Wade anyway, because he's been kind of quiet recently, and I want to hear him talk, him in that sexy Australian accent. So how did you leverage digital media to promote your tabletop RPG, and ultimately, what was the outcome?
Digital media. So, like, I mean, we're just talking about marketing on digitally or digital sales or
just anything to do digital, for creating a VTT, digital sales, joining YouTube channels, whatever, anything that you're doing digitally that help get the word out.
Yeah, no, that is the world of indie RPGs. Everything runs digital these days.
Yeah,
my PDF sales on DriveThruRPG are a cornerstone of my business. Like they bring in the trickle income between my crowdfunding. I just do so much community connection online. Especially living in Australia. Increasingly, my audience is America, because America is just so many more people, English-speaking, first world nation. Like, it's just that's where my market growth is coming from. So I have to do everything digital. So marketing, PDF sales, connecting with just freelancers as well. Like everyone I work with, it's all just emails and chats and stuff like that. I feel like that's all pretty sort of self-evident. I'm not sure if it's proving anything particularly insightful. I will say, DriveThruRPG, you've got to get on that one. I think every indie creator needs to get on there. I've tried Itch, didn't quite work for me. I think you can build on it, but it doesn't really do much itself. I didn't go exclusive with DriveThruRPG. I probably should have, but I didn't. And now I kind of can't be bothered. I probably should swap over. But,
it takes like 6 months to switch over, so.
Oh, okay. Deal of the day that they do with DriveThruRPG. Some of the marketing tools are pretty handy. They used to be so much more powerful than they are, but it's just the industry is so much more. There's so much more going on. It's got so much more competition. And that's just what it is. It'll contract again. Don't worry. I mean, does that answer stuff? I feel like I'm offering some vague nothingness on this one.
Well, if I were somebody who hadn't written, think of it this way: if I was somebody, I want to write a book, I want to get it out there, and I'm looking like, I've got to go digital, like you were saying. I want a global audience. Plus, let's be honest, while I prefer physical books in my hand, I understand the importance of, say, PDFs and so forth. How do I leverage that? How do I promote myself through it? So I mean, if you feel that you address that, then that's people got the answer.
I would probably say that if you're starting off making your own thing, think about digital as first and foremost. That's going to be where you start. Then you can expand off digital to go print on demand, possibly. And if you really want to turn this into a whole business and not a hobby, that's when you start going to printers and start getting like shipping containers and pallets of books and stuff like that. That's a whole new avenue. You got to be. I'm a proper indie self-published person if you're going to go that route. But otherwise, digital is fantastic as well. Like, Anyway, that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. I just went through the entirety of the follow-up questions that I had prepared, and you've answered all of them. So there's no reason for me to ask any of them. So I'm going to move on to Victor and ask you the same question. How did you leverage digital media to promote your tabletop RPG?
No, I pretty much agree with
a lot of Twitter, right?
Yeah, I do use a lot of Twitter. So I've said this before. Like Twitter is, kind of where I develop, my public, persona and stuff like that. So that's primarily where people know me from. Plus, streams and stuff like that. Your stream definitely helped a lot when I was first getting started. I got a lot of my audience just from you. I'll admit that. I don't know. DriveThruRPG is definitely the king for as if you're an indie, it's like the king of websites, to sell your stuff. Like I said before, for every 100 sales on DriveThruRPG, I had maybe 1 on Itch or some other site. So eventually, I just went you know what? I'm just gonna go. What was it called? Can't think of the word now. What's the word? Goddamn.
Exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. There we go. Yeah, my English. Yeah, my English
yeah.
just completely failed me there. Exclusive. And yeah, I've just always been like very online anyway. I've been on the internet since the 90s. You know, I run all my games online because there's not really like an RPG gaming culture here in the Netherlands. That's more of like a German thing and like all that stuff. So it's hard to like find like regular groups here. So I pretty much run everything online. And yeah, I don't know. What else should I add?
So what are the benefits? And I'm going to give you a twofer here.
Yeah.
What are the benefits and challenges of using YouTube and Twitter? They can be different answers for promoting your tabletop RPG.
Twitter is that people do try to embroil you in drama and like slap fights and like rivalries and all that stuff. You know, you've heard the stories. I've been involved in some stuff with people.
I'm so glad I don't use Twitter except for most of the auto posting.
Other creators going after me, you know, all that stuff. People trying to cancel me, you know, all that junk. So you do have to deal with that if you're on any sort of social media like that. And then yeah, as for YouTube, like I don't know, just go on streams and just.
So you know, coming like on my stream and, you know, talking with Basic Expert and going on other people's streams out there, obviously is a benefit.
Yeah.
But on the other side, what are the challenges of those? And also, you stopped streaming for a while on your own channel. I mean, so obviously there are some challenges involved in that, because I would think, this is just theoretically, I'm not saying this about you, that streaming on your own channel and every time you're on there just promoting the crap out of your book would be a benefit to you, while also providing people good content, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously there's some challenges. What are those challenges for people who might want to consider doing that, especially as a small, just starting off? I've got 40 subscribers. I've got 200 subscribers. I got 1,000 subscribers.
Just growth, I guess, and just like, you know, the algorithm picking you up and actually like, you know, making sure so people see your channel. The reason that I kind of stepped back from streaming and even my own stream was actually related to all that Twitter drama, because it was like, you know, it was starting to affect like other.
You're saying you're having problems writing at that point too, right?
Yeah, like, you know, I'm a sensitive soul. I'm you know, I'm a sensitive little boy. So, you know, all that drama was definitely getting to me, and it pretty much killed my creativity for like, you know, like 6 months or something last year. It really sucked. And I just didn't really have like the energy or like, you know, the will to be social on streams. So,
that's fair.
But it's coming back. I enjoy doing natural ones with the Basic Expert, who I see in chat right now. We try to just stick kind of just to like, you know, gaming discussions. Yeah, YouTube likes consistency, and yeah, if you drop off for even like a little bit, you just like you pretty much have to start from scratch. So
somebody needs to stop typing in my chat and start finishing his Atomic Punk book.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
But yeah, I know. I guess the core part of my argument is like, if you are on social media, just be prepared that there are some not nice people on there that will try to make your life difficult. So I don't know.
Do you say it's? Do you think that I know some of it, the drama is political nonsense, whatever. Do you think some of it is also crabs in a bucket?
Oh yeah, like, a lot of it. I would say even more so than the politics, because I don't really engage in politics and all that stuff anyway. So it's not really related to like, you know, cancel culture, the usual cancel culture drama. It's basically just like OSR infighting and jealousy and pettiness and narcissism and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know if Sean and Wade have ever dealt with that kind of stuff. I'm sure, but so yeah, it's just other creators. Wade, like
I will speak for Sean for a moment here. That TMNT Kickstarter. He had to tell me not to say some things because I was ready to light some people. He's like, no, don't do that. I'm like, but I want to. He's like, no, don't do that. Like,
because, you know, it's you know, we've been around for 43 years. Kevin's never like the darling of the industry because he played it real straight, in my opinion. So there's people that just have, you know, become Palladium haters or whatever, I guess, over the like 2 generations that Palladium's been around, I guess. And it's weird because it's like, you know, but it really gets down to numbers sometimes. Hey, if you're number 3 in the industry for 20 years, 1 in 1,000 people is like psychotic. you're going to get those people latching on. I mean, you also get, sometimes you'll get like really weird letters about people who have a chip in them and the CIA is tracking where they are and they want you to call President Clinton or whatever.
What?
Like, yeah, I mean, something you
Shouldn't
get
that
a lot.
letter go to SJ Games? Isn't he the one that got busted by the CIA or whatever it was?
Yeah, the Steve Jackson Games, when they were making the
Illuminati or whatever.
No, it was the other one, the hacking one was
I forget the name.
yeah. Anyways, it might have been Illuminati, but one of those games, they literally got raided and shut down for a month. So Kevin's got some crazy stories too about there were some guys that were role playing, and they were making phone calls and talking about their game, and in their game they were gonna, hey, let's go rob this bank, and then we'll go. But they were role playing in their hometown in their game, and so like the cops actually went and like grabbed all of them, and they were like, no, it's just a game. And they end up having, the cops called Kevin, and Kevin's like, this sounds like something they would do in a game. This is just, they're not actually, I don't think these guys are actually planning to like rob a bank or blow up the National Guard depot and steal all the guns. Ram a car through the door or whatever, but
Hey, it's Shadowrun.
so I mean, it's just you get it's just it's a numbers game. You'll get a number of people that are just off kilter for whatever reason. I think I'm just writing fucking Ninja Turtles books, so
it just
it's like
when
you think I'm like the son of the Antichrist. So yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of people. It's a very select few special individuals.
Well, in my case, it was like other creators, some much bigger than me when I was first starting out, especially. So that kind of sucks when you're trying to do stuff and a bigger creator is trying to
and that's exactly when I say Kevin wasn't a darling of the greater RPG industry, because it was other creators who were like, who's this upstart artist that I hired to do artwork for my game, and now he's writing games and they're selling better than mine? That can't be real. What's the deal? And he must be a bad person. I mean, it got, for a lot of people, it became very personal. The industry's a lot bigger now, but at first it was just a whole bunch of mavericks, right? And it was a little more of the Wild West. But when you're, especially if you're going on Twitter or something, or X or Facebook or whatever, you're kind of a lot of times you might be jumping back into that kind of a Wild West type situation.
Oh yeah, and the OSR is very like it's very indie. It's very Wild West actually. So yeah.
Yeah, but I like, that's why that was my whole point, is just let your art speak for itself, and then just don't give oxygen. That was my point, Max, when stuff like that happened.
I get it, and I wasn't mad. If I really wanted to do what I wanted to do, I would have done it anyway. But I also realized that can burn bridges when you do that as well. And I like the bridge that we have with Palladium books. I don't mind being a Palladium book shill. I love that term. So and you know what? Even though Kevin made me talk to you, I'm very happy I did. So I think that it's been great having you on the show every time, whether it's for one of these or for more promoting a product. And I'm looking forward to more of what we can do in the future.
Absolutely. So to the question at hand, how did you leverage digital media to promote your TTRPG, and what was the outcome? So I have a couple of interesting things that I'll mention there. Just, and it sort of goes with the crowdfunding. A video can be really good, but if you don't have the budget for it or the time and the knowledge to do it yourself, like I made the Titan Robotics Kickstarter video, but that took a couple of weeks. Anyone who knows video editing, that's not a surprise. And we didn't do a video for Turtles. You don't have to do a video, so just keep that in mind. I know that's kind of digital media. If you can do it, and if anyone wants any recommendations, I could recommend some people that are reasonably priced and stuff like that. But I don't think it's a must-have thing. Another thing, at the same time, I mean, I'll be honest, it was, for some reason, Universal owns the music to the original Ninja Turtles cartoon, not Paramount. So we tried to be able to use that music to get a video done for the Ninja Turtles RPG Kickstarter, and we were not able to secure the rights. Anyways, it was just, but it was like, so in the end we're just like, we just won't do a video then. So if we can't have a really great, cool theme song. So, and then, yeah, the other thing I was going to say is one thing I did that might be interesting to some of y'all. We've mentioned, I think Victor's done a good job talking about like how you can do like your email blast in your campaign if it's being fulfilled through drive-through. And I know a lot of indie people, that's a great place to start. Is one things we did with I think it was the American Armageddon campaign, but it might have been Atlantis and the Demon Seas. I think it was American Armageddon. Anyways, I wrote in like a day. I was like, oh, Shane was like, we want to put out a free PDF to all of our fans, and I was like, okay. So I wrote an adventure in a day, and including layout and all that kind of stuff, and then left space on the one of the last page for a half page image that was the image of the campaign, the Kickstarter campaign. And if you clicked on it in the PDF, it links you to the Kickstarter. So that, and we put that in our one big mailer to everybody who'd done a Savage Rifts Kickstarter before. And so and that was effective, and the fans really enjoyed the adventure.
Sorry, cat.
Okay. But it was funny because it was like one of those adventures I just wrote like as fast as I could, and I'm glad it came out well and fans enjoy it. A lot of fans thought it was a fun introductory adventure because it was kind of a scary New West kind of adventure. So that was a place. Those are just a couple of the notes I have on digital media. Palladium does have a YouTube channel. I used to have my own YouTube channel called the Robertson Rebellion. I haven't posted anything in a long time, but it was growing, and really, like people have said, the secret sauce really is being consistent, and fans will show up, and you will grow, and I think that there's some really powerful stuff you can do there. We're working on a lot of stuff like that behind the scenes here at Palladium, with big interview series with Kevin and a bunch of other stuff.
Well, I don't want you doing your own stuff. You need to come to Legion of Myth.
Also come to Legion whenever you ask. But yeah, we do want to have more, even if it's just a 10, 15-minute video once or twice a week that we can drip feed out, right? And then, consistency in time, that's how you win the internet. Mm-hmm. And so that's a thing I'll suggest when it comes to digital or social media promotions. I think that can be effective. Wade, do you have something else?
Yeah, just because I didn't have much to say, and then I've kind of heard you guys talk, and now I'm starting to like think about some more stuff. I think if I was to think, like two things. One thing, I think YouTube is, and like video is probably one of the most important things that I think people could get into. I've not succeeded in getting into that area because it's what's out of my skill set, but I find that a lot of the new RPGs that are coming up have great internet personalities. Like, they're just good. They make constant content. They've got good charismatic sort of presentation. I find that helps a huge amount, because I think a massive amount of our audience is not like, they don't like reading articles or blogs, but they love watching stuff on YouTube, or they might listen to it while they're working or doing other things. Like, it's like the return to radio in a way. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I'm starting to explore at the moment is also moving into virtual tabletop support. I think I've got a lot of untapped potential in that area. So I actually did a little crowdfunding a little while ago to get an online browser-based character creator done that's going to be able to export out into Foundry and Roll20. And so my dev's working on that at the moment. I'm a little nervous because I've never done anything like this before, but it's looking good. And I got to use my graphic design background to plan all that out. And because I have all the Adobe software, I've got all that. And I think supporting online play is something that I really want to figure out how to nail that. I think that's another untapped thing in the future. So those are the sort of two areas.
I know that online play is important, and I know that people want VTTs. Actually, it's one of the bigger questions we even get about Palladium. So when are they coming out with VTT? I personally can't stand them. Now, let me be very clear about this. I don't mind people playing online. I don't mind people using VTTs. Look, it's a different style of play. It is certainly not one for me. As somebody who's actually tried Roll20, and then what's the other one? Fantasy Grounds, and now Foundry. I think Foundry is the best one, bang for buck. You get best balance for difficulty versus what you get out of it. But none of it, literally nothing that a VTT offers me enhances play for my style. But I think you are right. That is absolutely one of those areas that when you dive into it, your fan base broadens instantly.
So
Well,
I'm a massive. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm a massive in-game person. Like I love it. Kitchen table, bowls of chips, rolling dice in the same space. Like that's how I game. But there's a massive amount of people out there who they're playing with a gaming group, is sort of spread and moved out, or maybe they live in a rural environment.
We still play online. We just don't. I mean, if you look at when RPG's Dumb ran our Rifts game, or when Bear was running our Palladium Fantasy game, which he's converting over to BRP, whatever. We just did literally like this. This is how we played. I get it. I'm not arguing. I want to be very clear. I'm not arguing. The people out there like, no, I got to have my VTTs. I'm agreeing with you. That is the next evolution. That really needs to be tapped into. I also want to just caution some folks out there. You don't have to have a VTT. And Victor, real quick before we go back to Wade, what is it you want to say?
Oh no! Speaking of Foundry, when I wrote the first edition of Modern Necessities, I actually made my own Foundry module for it. And when you buy Modern Necessities, you get like the file. It's like completely out of date now because Foundry like completely changed how they do things, and I haven't remade it. But that definitely like got some praise and some hits in the beginning.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right, Wade. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail what you're saying there.
Yeah, no, I'm all good. That's
okay.
Just the 2 points. Yeah.
So I want to ask, which question was it? Oh, so in your experience, you guys have talked about Twitter and YouTube and so forth. What platforms in general? And I'm going to kind of ping Sean on this just a little bit because I'm wondering if there was something that they did differently, like those press releases, that you found the most effective in terms of digital promotion for, whether it's TMNT or just Palladium in general, or Titan Robotics, whatever. There's questions for all of you, but because Sean has that access to a little more than what Victor and Wade have done. I'm just wondering if those were better, or if just doing things like this is the best, or what.
It's a really funny question you asked that. One I will say is that with we didn't do it with Titan Robotics. Just because of the timelines and when we met them, the Backer Kit promotion guys. But Backer Kit has a promotions department, and they're really great. And so they didn't work on Titan Robotics, but they did do, basically ran the program, the promotions for the Ninja Turtles Redux Kickstarter, and they were awesome. And so I was just talking to the Pinnacle guys. They just did a Backer Kit, basically a pre-order, right, for the new print run of Savage Rifts books that are going to include a lot of updates that we've made. I think they cleared 70,000 on it for just reprints. It's not like new books or anything. But I thought that was great, and apparently they worked with the Backer promotions guys and had nothing but positive things to say. So just one thing to throw out there, whether you're at Victor or Wade's level, or even just starting out, you haven't won an any yet. I would say that getting with some partners like that can be good. I've also heard of like Jellup and some other places, but this is something that I'm still getting into and getting to understand. I'm not some like marketing genius, I'm trying to get a lot better at it. But like, some of the strategies we used for Turtles went really well. One of the things that I would say is the most, sometimes guerrilla marketing can be fun if you can think of something weird or interesting to do. We had a big giant Leonardo, 5-foot tall Leonardo statue at Gen Con, and that was the hardest working employee I've ever had because people constantly walked up to Leonardo and taking photos. So I cut out a a QR code for one of our flyers and put it on his shoulder.
Mm.
And people were taking photos, and then I saw some people run up and take a photo of just the QR code and run off. Did those
nice.
convert into sales? I have no idea. You know what I mean? Because it went to our pre-order store for backer kit pre-orders. But it was cool, and people were excited about it, and so it made us rethink. Hey, wow, we could do something cool like that in the future for other stuff every year. Do we want to do something? The other thing that was really crazy, that was really effective for the Ninja Turtles Kickstarter, was we sent out physical mailers.
Oh, yes.
We had mailing addresses for, and people literally came into the comment section and said, I've never gotten a physical mailer for a Kickstarter. Hyper effective. We did that. Kevin did that. He just was like, I was just head down on the Kickstarter and getting a lot of things approved to show off or to do updates and stuff like that. And he did that, and he's the king of mailers. That was his arrow, right? He was really good at that. He knows that inside and out. And it was like we had a huge boost when people received those on, because you see, Wade knows, you have the half people at the front, half people at the end. There's a big trough in the middle, but it was kind of weird, but we kind of had this like really good engagement through most of the middle of the Kickstarter, and it had started to dip, and then that went out and people got it, and it came back up and stuck there for a while. So you can get a lot of mileage out of that. And then with this licensed property, we would also be like, hey, we want to get this next what did I call it, the thing, that the official press release. So we were like, we timed that so we knew the press release would hit, the second press release would hit at this time when we're in a slump, and some of it's just keeping that attention, keeping that excitement. This wasn't intentional, but because of the nature of what I mentioned, with getting the contract signed, and then immediately, just the last minute getting rights to do certain things, then we were showing off. And then Kevin Meesman, for instance, saying, oh, I want to paint a cover for you. Oh, okay, cool. So or Sophie Campbell wanting to do the same thing. So suddenly at week 2, we had this new variant cover to show off that we had announced. How
dare the people that actually write the comic book want to do a cover for you? What's up with that?
Yeah.
And Sophie Campbell is awesome. But we love working with her. But one of the things that I just thought was interesting was it wasn't intentional. I wanted to have, if it had been my druthers, I would have all that stuff way before we ever even started the pre-marketing campaign before we even launched the Kickstarter. But in the end, it ended up being effective. So who knows? I don't know. Man, I just work here. I'm just doing my best. Sometimes you have those happy accidents.
So it sounds like you did some of the normal stuff, and then you broadened out again, press releases and flyers and mailers. Sorry, you tapped into as much as you could to keep the word getting out there. You didn't just focus on one thing, which maybe if you're small, focusing on one thing is actually probably a benefit. So you're not. Is it analysis paralysis? You're not like, oh my God, what's next? But if you have the ability to do that, tap into the old grognard crowd with physical stuff. Tap into the younger kids with the digital stuff.
He did that. That was him, right? So that was kind of, that's the nice thing. Even if it's a small team, if you have everybody just throwing in and pitching in with what they can, and then Wayne saying, oh, we should get that email out, or to drive through or whatever, just all those little things add up. All those little efforts do add up. So that's always nice to see.
Okay.
And I could talk about BTT stuff, but I was going to kind of wait for the next question for that.
That's fine. Well, the next question, because I lied to you guys. I thought it was the last question of the night. It's actually going to be the next question. I snuck this one in here. Nobody's prepared for this question, but I want to make sure that these guys are good on this one right here. How you leverage digital media? Are y'all good? I did ask all 3 of you the question, right?
We're good.
All right.
I believe so. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to take a sidetrack here and talk about something a little personal. So there are multiple, and I stress the word multiple because I got my first kick in the teeth with this a year or so ago, and then at the end of last year with a much larger creator than us. And just the other day, well, it might not have been directed at me personally. It was pointed out to me, and it fit my bill perfectly. There are multiple critics out there who feel that reading a book and sharing thoughts about it on a live stream is lazy or unhelpful. That sharing thoughts about the game or the supplement, either because we're learning the game with the audience, like what I'm doing with some of the Free League stuff right now, or we have experience to share with the audience, is unhelpful. And as one person recently put it, deceitful. As a publisher of tabletop RPGs, what are your honest thoughts, the pros, the cons, the benefits, and the negatives of people like us who provide read-throughs and overviews of your product while trickling in our occasional thoughts and experiences? And I want to say one other thing for the folks out there. Did you know that every single time we do a read-through of a book, they can copyright claim us? Just so when a company allows you to read the book, you're still exposing it out there, especially when you read it in the format like we do on Sundays. And I've never had a company do that. Please don't start now. But
He writes notes, Kevin. We got it.
yeah, right. No, but I'm going to work backward in this one. I'm going to start with Victor. Victor. Now, to be fair, we haven't done a read through of your books, but we have opened them up. We've talked about them. We've done the overviews, and we've had you on the show. Do you find us lazy, unhelpful, or deceitful? Each one of those videos had those words in it.
In general, yes. No,
Nice.
I think that's just part of the hobby. I never even thought of it that way. Like that didn't even occur to me that that's like a thing that people are saying. Like, to me, that's just a natural part of the hobby, that people are gonna review your work and talk about it and like pick it apart and like say things about it on streams. Like that's why people tune into these streams, right? That's why there's like a multitude of like tabletop RPG team streams that are literally just about that kind of stuff. Some of them have like hundreds of thousands of like, subscribers. So to me, that's just a natural part of the hobby. So yeah, it never even occurred to me that people would be against that. So I mean, I'd be hurt obviously if somebody like picks my book apart on their stream and like completely trashes it, but it's not like I can really stop them. Well, I guess I could copyright strike them, but like again, that never even occurred to me. So
okay. Now, Wade, we haven't covered your books yet. Hopefully somebody else out there has. Like I said, we do overviews on one hand to keep the content fresh. So that stays on one stream, and then we move on to the next game. And then we do week-long read-throughs or deep dives, depending on the game, of other ones. Is that something you would find or have found, if somebody else has done it, a benefit to your product and your game?
Yeah. Indie creators, we will take any attention you are willing to give us. I mean, just to have people engage with our work and put it online, it makes a big difference. Like, I've had singular videos posted by a content creator that have just brought in a bunch of sales, which means I could now pay for another piece of artwork for my book.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. And I think I will say, like, I'm starting to value creators that put a lot more, like, say, content creators, like, streamers stuff, that put more effort into the production. I think I am wary of people saying, well, send me out a free book. And then they don't really do anything. They might do a quick look through and then that's it. And I'm like, I now no longer send out books to people. But I've done paid reviews.
Well, let me
before.
write that off. Not asking for a free book.
Yeah, sorry. I think after I got burned a few times, I'm like, look, it's not worth it.
We don't actually ask for free books. Now, in full disclosure, I did ask if Palladium could help us out for the Rifters, because there are 85 of them, and I can't afford $700 and some odd dollars to cover 85. But we still did pay, we'll just say, an amount for them, because I don't. Venger, he makes me pay for his books when we cover them. But to be fair, we also cover books that we like, or let me phrase that: books that we either own or that we like. We don't let randos just say cover my book, because I don't
know whether this is also partly because I'm just in Australia as well. So for me to get a book out to an American reviewer or a Canadian reviewer is an additional barrier to what I do. Like, if it was an Aussie guy doing a review, I could just stick it in the mailing box and off it goes, $15, and it doesn't. you know. But I'm starting to value much more reviewers and commentary that are putting effort into their stuff a lot more. And I think we've talked previously about how YouTube really likes you being really constant.
Mhm.
Don't ever fall off the wheel.
Mhm.
Part of the trap of that is I am noticing that a bunch of reviewers can't keep up. It's too exhausting. And so they're starting to actually release really phoned in content just for the sake of having something on the treadmill. And so I am noticing a little trend in that. I'm not sure whether that'll last or it's a little blip in the moment this last few years, but we'll see what happens on there. So.
Well, let me actually piggyback on that, because I fully admit when the creator at the end of last year came out and said that he's not going to do lazy panel shows, that to just read through books and so forth. I have a full-time job. I have a family. I have things that I'm working on the side. I'm trying, house repair, whatever, things that I've got to do, right? So yes, part of what I do, I will openly look you in the camera and say, yeah, it's partly is a little bit lazy. I don't edit the videos. I highlight them, but I don't edit them much. I have a few out there. I don't have time for it. It takes me about a week to make a 20 to 30 minute video from beginning to end. Scripting it. Yes, I script my videos when I do videos. And I'm not going to bore everybody with the entire process here, but from the time that I script it to the time I finish the editing work on it, because I do everything myself, it's usually 5 days to a week. I don't have time for that. I'm working on Legion of Myth stuff almost every day, preparing for the next stream. I got two live streams I do a week. I have to prepare for all of that. So if you think live streaming is lazy, I partially agree with you. It is lazy compared to curated work. But I also think that what we do, and this isn't towards Wade, by the way, I also think that what we do, though, is meaningful, because we don't just read a book and then close it. We talk about it. We argue. Hell, look at the last thing we did with the Twilight 2000. We argue about it. So, and I have to read a super chat, just popped in, and it's $20. So I have to read it right away. Panelists. The panelists are all artists. I can't imagine any of them being upset that a content creator had brought greater or wider awareness to the things they created that they put so much hard work and love into. Thank you very much for the $20, Law Dog.
Unless it's purposely to trash you and roast you, then yeah. But that doesn't happen that often, luckily, at least to me.
Yeah, and I think this plays into sort of the larger things. Like in RPGs, we all know there's not a huge amount of money floating around. There's no IGN YouTube channel pumping out trailers or reviews about stuff.
No.
It's all scrappy. Everything's scrappy. And also, RPGs are there's a part of them that's sort of innately artistic and philosophical. So we love talking about it. We love theorizing about stuff and discussing all the different aspects of it. So I think there's I like the idea of panels just sitting down, talking about stuff, opening books, putting their opinions out there. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Max, don't listen to the haters.
Listen. And then Sean, since and I wanted you to be last intentionally for this one, because back in 2022, it was just a lark for us to do what we called Year of Palladium Books. I wanted a theme, something both Heathen Dog and I enjoyed, and something that I thought could last most of the year. It was really a lark. And look what it's turned into. Probably much more benefit to us than to you. But the idea is like I love the fact that now I get to have these conversations with you guys. And all we did was basically read through a book and talk about games that we loved. I don't know how lazy that is, but going back to the question, I'm not going to read the entire thing for you. Pros and cons, though. I mean, has it been, in your opinion, something that's good? Not just us, Glitter Boys. I forget it because they're the only other Palladium channel I watch. But like the people that cover your content is, I guess, what are the pros and cons of that?
Yeah, like there's Juice with his Master of the Game, and there's through Gamers.
Oh, that's
Toggle.
right. I forgot about him.
No. I mean, I'm just mentioning a few. I'm sorry. There's there's other people I'm sure that cover our stuff that I'm forgetting right now. But no, in general, I think it's good. And you don't have to agree with everything. I mean, I don't want yes men, and like you said, I mean, you guys can dog on New West all you want. You boosted the sales. People love. Because I think partially because other people disagreed in the chat and said no, and so other people went out and bought them. So that's great. That's the cool thing about a conversation. And I do think that there's a lot of value to what I would call long form content, right? Similar to like say Joe Rogan and some of these other guys out there. The thing about long form content is you're not just doing some surface level thing, and you're actually having a conversation, a discussion. You're exploring something together with the viewer. I had my own YouTube channel, so I know it can be a lot of, just to do I did a lot of prep because I did it live, but I also was using I forget whichever program I was using. So I had like title cards and music and all types of stuff and videos and everything prepared so that I could talk about it live, which is probably way over the top. But the whole point was I didn't want to edit it, even though I went to school and took video editing classes and video special effect classes. And, because like, for instance, I made the Titan Robotics video and it's like, okay, it's pretty good. It's fun. But that was that's like 2 weeks of work. So I know what you're talking about. A little bit of video editing time can be out seconds to minutes, can be hours and hours and hours of work. And a very experienced professional work. But I think that there's a huge value to that. And I think we have seen that. And I think that we've had people tell us, they're like, yeah, I don't even like Max and Heathen Dog, or I don't like Heathen Dog, or I don't like Max, but I like the other one. Yeah, but they'd be like, I don't even like the guys that much, but that's like the best place to get Palladium, to get in-depth information about Palladium stuff. I mean, I think that speaks to itself too. If they don't even like you. So, I don't know. I wonder if Savage Rift's, sales boosted when you guys were dogging on it in interviews with me. So, I don't know.
He was dogging. I just say that game system matters.
It does matter. I'd be interested to, if we went back, I could maybe pick out some clips to send you of things that you said. But, so no, but I mean, it's just all fun. I'm just joshing, right? Yeah. Because it really is, there is value to conversation. There really is value to, hey, you know what? I could say something that maybe hurts somebody's feelings a little bit. That's okay. We're all trying to communicate with each other, right? We're all grown-ups. We'll all get over it, right? And if you can't, again, take a break, walk away from the computer. In the end, I really don't understand anyone who says it doesn't have value. I mean, I wonder if that person's ever written a book or sold anything. Yep. Because I think it really does have value. There's a lot of value to bring to the gamers and fans when you talk about things about how this rule works, or what's the cool things about the Vagabond OCC or whatever, right? That might be undervalued. People say, well, that's a turd. Why wouldn't you play this other thing that has more MDC and more guns or whatever? So I think there is a lot of value there. And yeah, I can't tell you how many people we've gotten letters from, whether it's Christmas surprise packages, or they just decide to send us something, or call in. I mean, Kevin and I are fairly connected. And fans we try to be fairly approachable. It's tough, right? But you try to be approachable and contactable. And even if people just call in and they're talking to Caleb in the warehouse, or Alex, or Wayne or something, we hear a lot of feedback, and people love that content. That content helps sell our books because people become aware of it. And look, here's the deal: if you roasted something in your Triax review because you didn't like it, well, someone who wasn't interested in the book probably wasn't going to buy it anyways, and so maybe they wouldn't even clicked on the video. But someone that's kind of interested would be like, huh, well, I think Max has a weird opinion on that, but maybe I want to check it out, right?
Well, that happens. Again, we joke about the New Wesley, but that does happen. It's like, no, Max, this book is really awesome. Or what you don't like, Max, is what I'm exactly looking for in a game. I'm like, cool, then go get it.
Right. So, and then at the same time too, then there's also things where you guys might talk positively about it. But I don't think it's really about whether or not, well, I mean, obviously if the whole thing was just like trashing our stuff constantly, then it'd be like just some hate read through or something. But I think if there's some even that might help us. But awareness in some ways is just good. But in fact, I'd love to see you guys do a hate read through of New West, page by page. But yeah, it's let's give you the challenge. Let's throw it down now. But I think there is value to it. I think it's cool and it's great to have honest discussion. I don't like yes men. I don't like sycophantic stuff. I think people automatically are turned off by it. So I think it's great when they see genuine discussion by people who are genuinely passionate about role-playing games or art, because our games also have not just art as in writing, but art as in we have cool art. Just like Fragged Empire, definitely has badass looking art.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, Victor's really upping his game on the art too there, and that really speaks to people, and I think that's important too. So when they get to see some of that stuff, it's no different than someone rifling through a book at the comic book shop. And one time Kevin told me the story. He was sending out his Palladium role-playing game, the fantasy RPG, in the early '80s, and this one distributor, they were shrink wrapping it and then putting it on the shelf, and he's like, what are you doing? You want people to flip through this, they see all the cool art, they can read some of the stuff and be like, oh, I need to get this book because I'm not going to read all of it standing right here. I'm not going to read 200 pages or 300 pages standing right here. I need to buy this and take it home. That's the point, right?
And if enough people do it, you get the Palladium peel.
So yeah, but I mean that's the thing I would say is when you really think about it, it really isn't. It's the modern version of flipping through a book at your comic book shop, because there used to be just piles and piles of books, right? And these with the ones I would go to, like at Nan's Games and Comics in Houston, you get like bins. And I'd see it was there, and if I saw a Ninja Turtles RPG book, I was like, yeah, I get it with my lunch money or whatever, But if it wasn't, I didn't know that another book was out even. I didn't have like a catalog form or anything like that to know it was out there. And it's the same way. Some might have never have encountered Ninjas and Super Spies or Triax and the NGR if it wasn't for some random video on YouTube, right? That came up for whatever reason. And I think that's cool. It's discovery.
Well, I don't want the competition, but I would actually say I want to be the only one because I'm selfish like that. But no, I mean, if other people have been thinking about, I like insert game system here. Please pick something else other than Palladium. But I love I love Palladium books. I love Warhammer. I love probably don't want to do something as big as Warhammer, but Free League, more people do Free League. Actually, we don't get a lot of views on our Free League stuff compared to other people because I think that there are already some well-known folks in the Free League side that get 1,000 and some odd views. But if you've got a company you like or games in general, there's nothing wrong with doing a read-through for it. The reason it works for me and Heathen Dog is because we don't exactly see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. I mean, just go watch the last Twilight 2000 video, and I'm going to have to do a correction on this one. That's right, I'm correcting him. But that's what adds the entertainment for it, But even if you're one person, you're just reading through it, as long as you can add your experiences to it. How did this work in your game? That isn't necessarily lazy content. You might have to practice. You might have to do it better. You might have to learn how content works. But, it took us years. We didn't do it overnight. But I think that, more folks should be doing it personally. And especially hearing it from these three folks are like, none of them said, no, I don't really like it when people do that.
I wanted to add something because Sean
Yes.
mentioned value, and speaking as a low level indie creator, people doing reviews, flip throughs of your book. That has tremendous value for somebody like me. I'm still mind blown whenever somebody organically wants to talk about my book or do a review, or people reach out to me, they want to write a blog post and they have some questions for me. That stuff literally makes my day. That stuff fills me with renewed creativity and love for the hobby and stuff like that. So that stuff has tremendous value. So
Okay, unless you guys have anything else you want to add to that, let's get to our last question so Sean can finally, we got a half hour before he turns into a pumpkin here. So, and again, we got Wade from Australia and Victor. I don't even know what time it is for you, Victor.
5:25 a.m.
So again, we got a worldly crowd here. So let's look at this chat. I know we got a couple of super chats in here as well. Where did that start? We already did that. Here we go. Yeah, there was a lot of commentary about the clown shoes. That went on for a while. Yep. Max is a fascist who wants to ban clown shoes. That is correct, sir. Everybody's going to wear the gray jumpsuit with the brown shoes. That's it. Nothing else. I lived in Russia, just saying, in 1990. So, I got to see what brown and gray was like all over an entire country. But thank you for the 199. Grizzly Beardo, everything I know about Australia, I learned from Mutants Down Under.
And it's all
That's
accurate.
right, sir.
Learned.
Tomato. Everything. Oh, wait, that was, I already played. Oh, I actually deleted the super chat. Oh, well. I read it. Any word on when TMNT books will ship? Do you have a quick answer?
Yeah, we're working on an update because all this stuff has to be approved with Paramount and stuff like that. But I'm thinking first quarter, 2025.
I do get asked this one a lot, so I figured since we had you cornered here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that we can't control in this. Once you send stuff off to the printer and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. That's my best guess, honest guess.
Sean, you need to do more YouTube content. Palladium needs to do more YouTube content. No, they need to farm that out to Legion of Myth.
Oh, we actually, like I said, we have stuff in the works, and it's actually a big thing that I want to get onto, but Turtle's big, so doing that. But these different wins give us more, like Wade was saying, just money's resources. It's grease, and that's I call it ammo because I was in the military. But I see it as just ammo that I get to use to blast away at my problems. So
yeah,
that is something that's really important to us.
You got some backing on this for $5. Thank you, Law Dog, for $5. Grizzly Law Dog telling Grizzly Beardo, I agree with you, Sean. Kevin Palladium needs to put out more YouTube content. You know what you can do? Well, you and Kevin are chained to desks, writing books and doing business plans. Just make Wayne do all the videos.
Probably not.
Okay. Law Dog also says, also more books. Just clone yourself and Kevin. We have the technology.
Do we?
We'll have Dolly Sean. There you go. Dolly the sheep, for anyone who remembers. We already read that one. Almost time to make that fort. Yes, Crafty. Almost time to make the fort. I got 4 months. He's the longest member of Legion of Myth, and he's got the 3 tag, and I do not have a 4 tag created yet. Maybe I'll just keep it at 3. 3 and above. Who cares anymore, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to say, I know this is like totally random. When you do the Veterans Day live stream, just let me know. I'd like to be a part of it if I can.
Absolutely. I'm going to start putting everything together for that in September so I can get it announced and get the main thing I need to know right now is when Heathen Dog is going to be able to run his game. The first time we did this, he took 2 breaks. I got 2 breaks. The last time he did it, I only got 1, and that damn near killed me. If you remember when you were on and how crazy that got? So yeah, got a little weird, and that's because I was punch drunk by that point. So I have to figure out how to get that worked in. And then the last, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Sean. For $5, this channel and Max and HD's videos are what led me back to Palladium. Forever thankful for you guys for that, and a few other people in chat. So they come here for the Palladium content. And look,
good coverage.
And like, if people don't like us for whatever reason, it could be because of our old rants. It could be because I say something poo-poo about, sometimes people think you can only say nice things. If you don't fully love it and you say one thing bad about it, that means you actually can't like it or whatever. Nah, man, we have our own opinions. You have your own opinions. If you buy something because we said we hated it, that's a win. I don't think there's anything we hated, but that's just not for us. That's a win. It still gives Palladium money. It allows them to pay, like Wade was saying a moment ago, pay another artist or whatever. That's all a good thing. Make Rifts Antarctica be coming out soon, and that's actually something as a non-Rifts guy I'm interested because I want to see, because new scientific evidence is showing a bunch of those caves in there, and I want to see if Kevin has actually tapped into that. So with that, we're going to go into the last question of the night. I am going to start with, I don't know. I don't even care. Wade, I'm starting with you. I think I did last time, but I don't even care at this point. And generally, I think we've answered some of these, but here we go. How has digital media influenced the way you create? So we're looking at this from the other side now. Not what do you use, but how has it influenced the way you create and distribute your RPG content? So are you designing your game different? Because I think before you were saying VTT, always have the digital, the PDF in mind, drive through RPG, et cetera, et cetera. Has that changed the way you create and distribute your content?
Oh, that's an interesting thing. I mean, distribution and stuff, I think I've already talked on. I think I do think about how people play my game, though. Like, I find that a lot of people use PDFs to make characters, for example. Like, that's a really common thing. But then they might grab the physical book. It's more like comfy, sit in the chair with a beer, read through it's kind of a relaxing sort of experience. And then another part is I don't really want people referencing the rulebook at the table while they play, but sometimes they do, so you still need to be flicked through to quickly find it. So I actually am kind of I find that my audience uses a mixture of digital and physical. It's part of how they play. They want both. They don't just want one. And I find actually some people do just want one. They just want the PDF because they kind of don't have enough room on the shelf. That is actually pretty common. And then the development of my virtual tabletop is something I'm figuring out. Ask me in a couple of years and I'll be able to give you some nice, insightful information on how that went and what I did right and what I did wrong.
What digital tools, how do I want to say this? Yeah, what digital tools and platforms do you find essential for your business? Now, we're not just talking, okay, well, yeah, we've already talked about, being on YouTube. No, we're talking about that. We're talking about like marketing tools that might be behind the scene, or I don't want to tell you how to answer the question, but outside of just the idea of YouTube, what digital tools are beneficial? I mean, you could easily say like InDesign or Affinity or whatever, but we're talking beyond that. Yeah.
So are we talking creation or marketing here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
This is kind of the final thing for I really want to get into this, but I got to have the tools to make this work for me. What tools would you suggest?
Yeah, well, I use InDesign. Just pay for my Adobe suite. That is the software that I use to create the book and create PDFs for people to read and print-ready files to go to the printer. And you also probably want it handy, and Photoshop is handy. All the Adobe suite stuff, Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign are my bread and butter. I'm cycling through those three things constantly. In terms of sales, you want social media. I find Facebook, Twitter, Discord are the most useful. Reddit, sometimes in forums, sometimes in podcasts. They're little bits are still important. And we've mentioned Drive-Thru-RPG again lots of times. Itch can work, but you really need to lean into it, I think. And I haven't done that, and I don't think I've got the time to do it. I find that Discord sort of fulfills my community needs over Itch for that sort of stuff. You also want to make sure that you're creating PDFs that are like character sheets that are like editable. We want fields in there. We want drop-down menus. We want interactive PDFs. They're all very useful to help. Anything you can do to help yourself stand out and facilitate play and create good content. Yeah.
Okay. Victor, how has digital media influenced the way you create and distribute your RPG? I mean, that's pretty much just your only way, right?
Yeah, it basically for me and people like me, that's been like the game changer. That has allowed us to be indie creators to begin with. I use Affinity because I don't want to pay $30 a month for InDesign because I am already paying a lot of other bills. So I use Affinity. It's like you pay for it once and it does almost everything that InDesign does. There's even like a version of Photoshop and stuff that they have. So actually, that's a suggestion. If you're just starting out and you want to save some money, get Affinity Publisher. The big game changer for me, especially with Drive-Thru-RPG, is the print-on-demand stuff. So, PDFs is one thing, but print on demand, allowing me from the Netherlands to get like physical books in people's hands, easily without all the red tape of like having to, do shipping myself or having to deal with a fulfillment company in the US and, and having to pay for like, custom expensive prints and stuff. Like, yeah, that's been like a huge game changer. I can offer soft covers to people. I can offer hard covers to people. So yeah, I mean, that's been nice. That's basically it, really.
Okay, so what strategies do you use to create engaging digital content for your audience? Now, obviously, you've got a format for your book that, other than the Left Justify, I like. But in things like, even when you're talking about promoting it, whether it's on Twitter or whatever, like what content do you clip out, or what things do you do? Have you made little videos for your books?
Yeah, I made a trailer for Modern Necessities, and that's up on the Kickstarter. I paid YouTube to like promote it, so it got like 11,000 views or something during that time. So and then the link was in the description, obviously, so that probably got me some engagement on it. I got distracted by first comment. Like,
well, then I'll put it up now. I was gonna wait, but I'll put it up now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Any award-winning Victor per.
Yes.
That's any award-winning Victor.
Yeah. And yeah, just being able to engage with people on Twitter, Discord, Guilded. I use Guilded a lot. Has been nice, and just the internet in general has just been a boon for, well, sometimes a curse, but for the most part a boon for people like me. And it used to be that making an RPG was like mostly the domain of like established publishers, or people that managed to do it in the 70s and then became like an established publisher. But now it's a lot easier for for somebody with an idea and like InDesign or Affinity to get their stuff out there and create their own little fan bases. And I've always said, like, one benefit of people like me is like, we don't need like thousands or 10,000s of sales. Like I can get by probably with like maybe 100 sales a month, and I would have like a nice bit of pocket change. So
So I realized that I can't count. For some reason, I have 3 questions this segment, not 2. I'm going to jump right in the third question for you before I go to Sean. I'll do the same thing with him, and then we'll finish up with waiting. I can't control my own show anymore. So what, because I think this is a good question for you to continue on with what you were saying, is what future do you see for digital media in tabletop RPG space, and how are you preparing for it? Now, this would include things like VTTs, AI, VR, and so forth. I mean, I know you're small, but those are things that you already said you did VTT, right? So what future do you see?
I think the stuff that's out now is just gonna get better. I'm hoping that maybe there will be like a decent alternative to Drive-Thru RPG at some point, because I think having more good big sites like that is better, obviously. So far, like Drive-Thru RPG has like the complete monopoly kind of on tabletop digital stuff. As for AI, I don't really like AI. I don't really engage with it, especially with like the whole art thing. I don't really like using AI art for my book. I think ultimately that will hinder you. But who knows? I could be completely wrong. Who knows what the future brings with that? But I don't know. Like I think stuff that's out now is just gonna get better, and I'm not. But I suck at predicting what else is gonna get invented. So.
Okay, sounds good. Sean, we're going to go back to the second question for you, because like I said, I don't know how to host my own show anymore. It's probably just too late. But I'm usually done streaming by now, and we still have to have a segment 5, because we did make enough money for the giveaway today. So I have to set that up. You guys will be able to go before that happens. But all right, so how has digital media influenced? And I think this would be interesting come from a Palladium perspective, considering there wasn't digital media in 1983. Whatever it was. So how has digital media influenced the way you create and distribute your RPG content?
Yeah, so this is one of the things. I mean, Kevin's king of the old methods, right? So he pasted up books and all this stuff. And so, I've talked about it in other streams and stuff, but now we're doing things like remastering those books, where we're taking scans and then OCRing them, or sending them to an archival service to do that. and then rebuilding and recombobulating everything from those original paste up boards. And it is kind of neat though, because it can be part of a value proposition if you do it right, which is really fun. And then you can improve, we can slowly improve the, most common or most popular items that we already have out on PDF and say DriveThruRPG. And I think that distribution is really interesting. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it, but we've had a new website in the works for a while. But one of the big things we want to be able to do is do things like sell our PDFs from our own website, and other things like that. And digital media is a great way to distribute content. As far as creation, I mean, it's very much like what Wade said over on my side. I learned InDesign. It's pretty much industry standard. If nothing against if you're doing something and you like what Victor's talking about, but if you're collaborating with a lot of people, it starts to become more and more incumbent, right? I use Premiere Pro, and I think a little After Effects to produce the Titan Robotics trailer video, and of course Photoshop, Illustrator. Mostly Photoshop, but I also like having the art in Photoshop files, because then that plugs straight into InDesign. It's really easy to update those files or edit them if you need to. Let's see. When it comes to Palladium, there's a lot of stuff that we've been updating, and so things like MailChimp, they weren't using a solution like that before, so that's been really great for us. Things like Hootsuite, so you can manage all the different medias, or as many of the medias as possible at once, from an easy site. We use Google Workspace, Dropbox. I love Google Docs. Kevin is getting into Google Docs too, and so that's cool. It's really great for collaboration, and I highly suggest Google Docs to anybody out there. And the Google Workspace is only a few bucks a month per user, so it's actually shockingly affordable for indie creators. And if you even need to spend that money, but sometimes you need to spend it for reasons that wouldn't be apparent on the surface, like if you have like cyber security insurance because you've got an IP that is owned by a mega corporation. Things like that just come up, and it's weird. But that's a lot. And then of course, I mean, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever. I think that Discord is really interesting. I think Wade was mentioning Discord. I think that's a great idea. I think forums are kind of like ancient, and there's actually
whoa. I'm a forums guy. I prefer forums to Discord.
It's getting so bad that it's hard to even find good forum software now. A lot of it isn't supported anymore, and I mean it's like kind of weird. And then you just got to roll the punches, right? At this level, and then like weirdly, I've used Discord actually to coordinate artists. Mm-hmm. I use it when I play Palladium, since I do narrative, theater of the mind. I don't need a virtual tabletop. Mm-hmm. We just get a dice roller, and we have a different thread for like everybody's characters or the different adventure things or NPC names and locations. I mean, I freaking love it.
I've been really lucky. My groups have all trusted us to roll our own dice here, so I still get to have the physical stuff in my hand.
We do that sometimes too. It just I think whatever your group is comfortable with is fine. But that's just the funny thing is, like, people ask about virtual tabletops or something, and I'm like, well, and for Palladium, I don't know how super necessary it is right now, and I know I'll get blamed for that, but there's other stuff I want to do, and it's not, we got things going on in the background, I'll say, on that front, but it's going to be a little bit. So
instead of asking you the direct question, I'm going to ask you the follow-up because I think it's more poignant for you, especially, again, considering the age of Palladium, coming from the old school versus now, and we're in the digital age and so forth. How do you balance traditional marketing methods with digital media strategies? So like again, you were saying before, you had some flyers, you put in a book. That's definitely old school. So how do you do? I'd still say a press release is pretty old school. So you've got those. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a function of the specific relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I think I think you just gotta keep your mind open to all the options and then just do the best you can, because you're always going to find yourself in some. I've found, at least in this industry, we're already in some weird niche of the tabletop gaming industry, right? And then license products. I mean, it's a niche of a niche, right? So it's. I don't know if I can give a real comprehensive answer to that. One of the things I do want to comment on though is like AI art, AI writing. In the next decade, I'd be shocked if in the next 2 decades it got to any point where it was commonly used for anyone, by any real. I hate to say it this way, but like people were trying to create real art. I think that I actually just had this discussion with some people at Gen Con over dinner, and it's like, if you look at the Ninja Turtles Kickstarter, for instance, Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, and then there's just this laundry list of Freddie Williams, all blah blah blah, Sophie Campbell, all these other people that are involved with it and are doing tribute art and write-ups for it. I mean, they're all artists, right? It's about
Larry Elmore.
Larry Elmore, Ramon Perez, but it's all about my name, Eric Wujic's name, Kevin Simbita's name, right, as artists as well. And I think that speaks to the AI is just not going to replace that, and people value that, and that's part of that is the core value proposition of the entire thing that we're doing with the Redux edition.
Well, what about AI for small? Like, let's just say me. I finished my book. I don't have following. I don't have that reputation that we were talking about at the beginning. Like, but I want something at least colorful in there, so to speak. Can you see smaller creators throwing in some AI art for that?
I think one day maybe it'll be palatable to people if the AI is not trained on artists without their recompense. I think that's kind of the crux of it.
Okay.
I'm just, this is just my thing. I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe next year I'll be proven wrong, but I don't think in 10 years we're going to see role-playing games written or art directed by AI. Not going to happen.
Well,
right?
you mentioned reputation. So sorry, but you mentioned reputation. I think actually using AI, at least at the moment, hurts your reputation. No matter how. Yeah, like I know multiple people in the OSR scene that use AI for their products, and they're doing decently well, but they definitely have had like some criticisms and some troubles just using AI.
And as soon as they get enough, and I'm not dogging on anybody at all, right? But I think as soon as they get enough traction, they're going to take money and spend it on artists.
Yeah, I'm also seeing that. Yeah.
Right. That's the reality of it, because just like if I was just a publisher and I wasn't a writer, I would take money and go find a really good writer, get them to write the damn books, because I know it's going to be better quality. I mean, Palladium's built on quality. We're selling 30-year-old books in our library right now every day because they're freaking good, right? That's it. It's quality, beautiful, awesome art, cool ideas that people can't get enough of. And that's just, quality doesn't go out of style. It just doesn't go out of style. That kind of creativity doesn't go out of style. And so, and I'm not, again, when I express these opinions, it's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to dog on anybody that thinks or does or feels differently, but that's just my take on it. And I don't think it's going to be, it's just not, I don't think it's going to go that direction. Just like they call it AI, but really it's machine learning. I don't think we're ever going to see real AI. Sorry, that's just my thing. I've had people say, well, of course we will. We haven't, and I don't think we will. Not in our lifetimes. Just like they're never going to discover the DNA fountain of youth during our lifetimes. Just not going to happen.
We need to talk at some point. Obviously, tonight's not going to be the night, but we need to talk behind the scenes, because you know where I work, Sean. I can tell you the emphasis they're putting on AI, and this started about a month ago. It's ridiculous, but we can talk some other time about that. Let's bring this full circle around.
Sorry, I might jump in a little bit here with the AI art stuff.
Oh yeah, I
and
was
the
actually
AI
going to bring
thing.
it full circle back to you to
Oh,
finish up the
sorry.
discussion on
Yeah,
this. So
man,
perfect.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I won't share all of them. But for me in my business, I'm not using AI art. I think I really because that's largely because my products are I would like to define them as artisan. Like that's a vibe I'm going for. I want human-made artisan products in here. But I'm going to add a couple of little caveats to this one. Our industry is ripe for AI to get in it. In fact, I say it's already in. I think our books are actually already being assisted. The writing is already being assisted by AI. The art is already being assisted by AI. They're just not telling you. Okay? Because there's no reason for the artists and the writers to tell you. The way I think about this is, if you remember back in like before the year 2000, back when like 3D modeling started coming in, and you had artists do these like 3D shapes, and they always look kind of stupid, you know? But artists were like, oh my goodness, it's like 3D shapes, because it used to have to like carefully draw these up, and they took so much work, and people got very excited, but they looked like rubbish. But then over years, artists, not technicians primarily, artists figured out how to use that stuff when they're producing work. You know, my artists now use 3D stuff because they'll sketch out a scene in 3D and then they'll hand draw over the top of it. They figured out what it's good for and how to get it and how to get the right aesthetic. They'll do the exact same stuff with AI. They will figure out how to use it in a way so it doesn't just feel samey, so it doesn't feel dry and hollow and soulless. You know, maybe they might even train AI on their own work, you know, so they're going to overcome the ethical side of it. So it's coming. So I'm kind of like doing this simultaneously. It's here, it's coming, and I'm not using it. So I'm a little bit weird like that. But even I can't say I'm completely not using it, because let's say I've got Photoshop open, and the other day an artist produced a picture for me. I wanted to extend a circle in the background, and the artist wasn't available to do this modification. I should have noticed this earlier, and I thought, well, actually, previously I would just open up in Photoshop and I would paint it myself, and I'd carefully clone and brush and make the extension. This time I just drew a shape, used the AI algorithm in Photoshop to extend this background object that I wanted to, and then I went over with my pen and in 10 minutes, I did something that would have taken me 2 hours to do previously. You know, and that's because I've actually got photo modifying skills myself that I could even do that previously. So that little bit of AI stuff, like, it's creeping in. And I just think, like, the effort to return ratio is too good for people not to use it. It's going to win. Artists are going to use it to augment their own developmental cycle. Publishers will start to use it. But
it's not going to replace those people in the loop, was my point, right? It's not.
Yes, they're going to learn to integrate that into their system so that they're creating better work and faster. Same as what we've always done for stuff. But I do think people are rightly upset with how AI stuff initially came out. They just ripped off artists, which is typical, you know, tech guys. They just do stuff and then ask for forgiveness. And if they make enough money, then it's okay, you know? Like, I think people are right to be pissed off about that.
I think AI has its uses. I use it sometimes to like refine ideas. Like if I'm like working on like a faction or something and I need like a name for it, I'll be like, AI like suggest me like 25 names, and I might not like take them verbatim, but you know, seeing one might give me like my
Get
own
some brain
idea.
juices flowing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So and there's also Grammarly, which is kind of like a writing like feedback like editing program. I've used that, and the latest version is AI assisted. I don't have the money to pay an editor. I basically am my own editor. I don't have like thousands of dollars to like, you know, throw at some dude to like edit my stuff.
But more people out there that self-publish need to use Grammarly.
Yeah, Grammarly is amazing.
And spell check.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spell check. And it also just like rephrasing something slightly, like, you know, I'm not claiming I'm the best writer, like especially since English is like my second, if not third language. So you know, sometimes my phrasing might be a little off. So you know, Grammarly will correct that for me. So
All right. Well, this live stream is 2 hours over its scheduled time. Well, hour and a half, I guess, technically over. This has been crazy, but man, you guys have had a bunch of stuff in here. We're going to go around one more time before I read the super chats. We're going to let these gentlemen identify themselves, but I'm also going to trick them because I'm going to make them answer one more question. I'm sliding this one in here. And it's one that I think is important to every creator, big and small. How do you handle the challenges of digital piracy and intellectual property protection? Now, before you answer, I would also like you we'll start with Victor because I think that's where we are now. If not, I started with him 3 times in a row. I don't care. But we'll start with Victor. Answer the question, but also remind people who you are all in one go here. All right.
Yeah, I'm Victor, the Squine Dutchman. I write modern team stuff for Old School Essentials and 5e and not Blacklight, Shadow Dog. So check it out. You can probably find my Drive Through RPG page somewhere.
In the description.
Piracy. My original Modern Necessities ended up on 4chan, and I'll admit, I was kind of stoked about it. I thought, like, I was kind of happy with it. I didn't really care. It kind of proved to me that people wanted my stuff. I just saw it as proof that, you know, I'm like kind of a legit creator, that people actually are bothering to pirate my stuff. I don't know how I'll feel about it in the future when I'm way more successful and, you know, like whole websites are sharing my PDF. I don't know, but the one time it happened, I didn't mind. I actually was kind of happy about it. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I used to go to the Trove when the Trove was a thing, but I want to be very clear for folks. I went to the Trove to determine if I wanted to buy the book or not. I have no PDFs in my collection. I'll look you straight in the eye. I have no PDFs in my collection from the Trove that I've held on to without buying it. So,
only a Palladium ones. No.
Wow. Sean, same question for you also, please, one more time. I think everybody knows who you are, but just in case, on the off chance somebody pops on in here, remind people who you are, what you do, but also answer the question, how do you handle the challenges of digital piracy and intellectual property protection for Palladium books?
So yeah, my name is Sean Owen Robertson. I am the illegitimate love child of Shane Hensley, sent by him to take over and replace everything with Savage Worlds rules now. But I'm a writer and designer, and I love working on cool stuff like riffs and Ninja Turtles. To handle the challenge, digital piracy. I mean, the funny thing is, we got a lot of fans that are very loyal, and they usually point stuff out they find on weird parts of the internets, and then we tell Alex or Wayne to give a call to whoever to get it removed. I mean, it's just that simple, and you can't really stop it. It's a certain level of when you get people want to steal stuff, they can steal stuff. So when it comes to IPs, I mean, that's where it's funny because people will be like, "Oh, Palladium Books, you know, sued this company because they published an unauthorized Ninja Turtles thing." Well, the funny thing is if you're actually a licensing partner, you know, a licensee of something like that, you're literally required to defend their intellectual property within your sphere and domain. And that like literally there was a situation where someone had done something like that with TMNT back in the day, and Kevin, he was like, "Hey, can you just put this acknowledgement in your print run? Take this stuff out of your next print run." And the guy was like, "No, and if you don't like it, sue me." And Kevin was like, "I had to sue him." Like, it was really required. So that's in those 36-page contracts that you get with stuff like that. So same thing for like Robotech. And guess what? Yeah, you can't just steal the rule system and everything that Kevin developed over the years and put it in your own book and put it on Drive Through RPG.
Well, we all know what Harmony Gold did to BattleTech.
Oh, that the unseen thing and all that. That's the Macross Robotech.
So just to be clear, I mean, Palladium had an aspect of the Robotech IP, and you had rules of utilizing that. BattleTech just decided to go out and take some mechs, and yeah, I mean,
well, they technically they said they licensed it through. I don't want to get into that whole thing.
Yeah, no, I know.
to another company that said they had the lights. So, I don't know.
But
You know.
but the point is that it isn't just Palladium that's trying to be protective of an IP. Talk to anybody about Lucas and how protective he is about Star Wars. Harmony Gold, very protective of Robotech and whatever it's got. So that's just part of the business out there. So,
And like I said, sometimes it'd shock you how much when we're in a certain licensing agreement, like we're actually required to do certain things. It's not as cut and dry and easy as you might think that, they should just be cool about that. No, we kind of can't. And we could be liable otherwise. There's a lot of interesting stuff like that. But in general, I think I like watermark PDFs. I think that's but if people play the game and then hopefully they buy the book later if they enjoyed it, that's the kind of the feeling I have about it. I mean, there's only so much you can do, and we have great fans. We have so many fans that are just so excited to back a Kickstarter or buy a new cup or a mug or a pin, a t-shirt. And it's like, I can't really complain. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it. I try not to worry about it. I try not to get focused on stupid stuff like that. I just want to write books and tell cool Ninja Turtle stories and stuff like that. So.
All right, well, it's now officially tomorrow for everybody but me. So, Wade, let's do the same thing with you. Please remind people who you are, what you make, and then how do you handle the challenges of digital piracy? And have you had to deal with intellectual property protection yet?
So I'm Wade Dyer. I'm the creator of Fragged Empire. Digital piracy. So basically, I'm kind of under the opinion that it can't really be stopped, but it can be stemmed. I think the primary ways I try to battle it is one, by just making my PDFs really easy to get. If you want it, just go to a couple of different stores and you can just buy it and you've got it straight away. Cultivating a healthy community that feels respected and respects me. And the third one is, to all those people out there who go and have pirated my books as soon as they were accessible, you've probably got a version that's slightly out of date. And I don't know anything that annoys a gamer more than knowing that they have a slightly out of date version PDF. That would piss people off so much, Imagine going to a table and you find that. Anyway, yeah. So go get the latest ones. I keep them up to date. There's a reason. I encourage people, if you buy my stuff from DriveThruRPG, it will always be the most up-to-date. I will always fix everything and tweak little things if needed. Also, as was sort of touched on by Sean about, you're contractually obligated to protect people's IP that you're licensing. You're also obligated to protect your own IP, otherwise you could lose it.
That's another really important point. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
That's critical.
Really important.
If I don't defend Fragged Empire and I'm not seen to visibly be doing it, not just not condoning, but actively fighting to defend my IP, a court that could bite me in the ass later in the future. And so I have to. And I'm going to do it because my IP is the most valuable part of my business. I've done a little bit. So I've licensed out some of my IP. It's not really I've done localization in terms of people translating my books into other languages. And I've had some issues with that where I've had to basically say, look, you need to actually resolve this or I'm going to take this to court, and you have, and I told them, and they didn't really believe me. And I dropped that line and said, "Look, I am obligated to defend my IP and do this to pursue you. If I don't do this to you, this puts me at risk." And then they were like, "Oh, okay." And then they finally got their asses out of there, and did what they were supposed to do. But yeah, welcome to the internet. People share stuff around.
Yeah,
it happens. I try to fight it with good vibes.
I just put a virus in my PDF, so when they download it with LimeWire, the computer goes haywire.
Oh, let's see if we've got any chat here to finish up so we can let these folks go. I'm going to apologize to them openly right now. This should not have lasted. I can't math right now. 5 hours. 5. When I hit 4, I'm like, we're done. And we hit 5. So thank you for hanging out this long. and an apology for making you hang out this long. But I appreciate everybody being here. Obviously, chat still enjoys you guys being here, so that's a good thing. Do we read this one? Law Dog for $5. Thank you for the $5. Says the Palladium Megaverse forums are an absolute treasure. It's not the word I would use. Please maintain them or at least archive them if you guys decide to cut Sling Load. They've been cleaned up a lot, I think, since they were like 2 years ago. But I know when I used to search them, it was not a fun time to go there. And I'm just going to say this. I don't expect Sean to necessarily respond to this, but I was very taken aback by all the attacks against Kevin and Palladium Books on his own site. It was like, what? Like, wow. Yeah, but I can tell you that I have been there recently, and at least in modern posting, I don't see as much of that. But yeah, I'm a forum guy as well. We got another super chat. So Baron G Rock, who we shouted out at the beginning of the show. Remember, there is the GoFundMe for him. The link is in the description. I'm not going to repeat that again. I'm getting tired myself, so we're going to move on to the next super chat. But it's good to see Baron here. And then we're just sad there's there is I still have to, these guys get to go to bed. I have to still do the giveaway because we do have a Friday. We made the cutoff for the giveaway today. So, once I let them go and do their thing, finally, we will have it.
So if I win the giveaway again, do I have to show up, or can I just like? Yeah,
you have to be here to win the giveaway. So that is part of the rules. Yes, sir. So please, if you like this discussion, if you want to at least thank Sean, Victor, and Wade for giving up 5 hours of their life. I mean, look, the old Friday Chill Stream used to do that. We don't do that anymore. To talk in great detail, and I say that in sincerity, not in snarkiness, about. Oh, Sean just left. Bye, Sean. He's like, screwed him out. I quit. Yeah. Palladium didn't pay the bills. Yeah, please subscribe to the channel. This Sunday on RPG Digest, I'm going to be continuing on with Twilight 2000, which will be covering close combat and range combat. I'm going to make a bunch of clarifications in terms of range combat and line of sight, because there are some questions about that, things people didn't like. Well, I kind of say too bad because I was right. And I will actually, I have some already, but if necessary, I'm going to the wilderness tomorrow, and I'm going to take pictures of a forest to show you that you can absolutely see through more than 30 meters of forest. So, anyway, and then Heathen Dog's going to be covering Rift's World Book 12 Scyscape. Next Friday, 30th of August, on some Rando RPG live stream. It is the members only live stream, so there may or may not be a public one. I'm working out something with Venture to possibly talk about his Primordial Chaos, Gonzo like an effing boss. However, I got word that you guys were telling me in chat that he dropped his IP. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
Yeah, he's quitting the business. He made that announcement today.
So maybe he won't be on, and it'll just be a members only stream. We'll figure that out. I wonder if it's because he's disappointed because this thing it certainly has not made his goal yet.
Yeah, apparently,
he's popped up about 300 since the stream started. I don't know if it's because of you guys or something else, but anyway, I'll get a hold of him. So there may or may not be, but if it does, it'll start 2 hours late because the members only stream will start at the normal time. So with that, as always, if you enjoy the discussion, please like this video, subscribe to Legion of Myth, to all the panelists whose links you can find in the description. Say hello to Sean. It was late for him, guys. Like I kept him here way longer than he wanted to stay. So I appreciate him hanging out this long. He's got real life stuff to do. So please buy their stuff, subscribe to their channels, and shout them out to the high heavens wherever you can. And I hope everybody has a great week.